So since I'm in a hurry, this video might be a mess, but still. Lately, Rich and I we were making lots of videos, and in one of my videos I talked about Ubi, like recurring Ubi, the one that I keep coming back to. And I've been having like lots of these adventures lately, when I go out of body, and every time I wake up at night and fall asleep again, I will keep coming back to the same place, continuing my adventure. And of course, every night the place would be different. And tonight was one of the interesting movies, and like, hey, I want to do some content like yesterday I could, and today I have 20 minutes. I'm in a hurry, so hopefully I'll get this fast. But anyway, so this kind of world was like interesting. It's just like similar to Earth, more of a futuristic. And the interesting element of this was like, again, like society is being controlled, society is being followed, there's a whole system. And beings with more powers, beings who are aware, awake, and have like, hey, I know what's going on, I can make difference. And those who know their abilities and the power of creation, they're being targeted. So I come in this realm, and like there's more of us, like a whole group of people, and basically everyone who wants to enter, they get a clone body. So you don't come in incarnate, you just get a made synthetic body, and your consciousness just takes over it. And every synthetic body has a sort of very similar thing to RFID chip. It's like a little tube, and it's a sort of a scanner. So the bodies already with it. Every body you can get in that world will have a little thing in it, and it's usually in the hand, and they can follow you. They can follow you. They can hear everything you say. They have your movements. And I was like, okay. Before I found it out, like I just got a body, and I'm just like in my adventures, like walking in. The sort of world was like, I don't know, or world, or more like a place I was in. It's something between a library, a university, a scientific lab, and like you can imagine something, a mix of, well, it's underground bases where they have a lot. And this facility is huge. It's like the whole town. One facility is like the whole town. It's just huge. I don't know, like, you can, for comparison, we have Hogwarts from, like Harry Potter, and it's just make that 10 times bigger. Like, I don't know, like it's just huge. So my standards, like, like I was like exploring, like in libraries, like reading, learning about the world, and then like, I was like noticing that everywhere I go, people were sort of acting like, we talk about these NPCs who have like beings who have a body but no soul inside, and I'm like, as I'm walking through and like, just experiencing that kind of world, a lot of beings are just monitoring me. They can be drinking coffee and having an everyday conversation, but all their eyes are at me. Like, they can just talk to each other, and they're looking at me like that. And I'm like, like, I like doing my stuff, and I'm like, what the hell? And everyone is like that. People are, like, reading books, like, they might have, like, going out, and they're, like, reading the book, and they're, like, looking at that. Like, so it's interesting, like, catching their attention, and like how everyone is sort of monitoring you. They don't need cameras, they're using bodies, and you're like, you can engage with those people, you can hear their talks, you can hear their conversations, and you can barely tell the difference. It's just like, those bodies are just like being used as puppets to follow us, to make sure that, like, they can control us in every single way. And if you're like, oh, I'm gonna go there, the being that's like following you and like targeting you is basically, oh no, you should not go there. It's like they will try to like deceive you, tell you a story, tell you why you should not do something, and they will try to talk to you in a way which makes you like, oh, it's an everyday conversation, it's fun. And a lot of beings like get deceived, because like for you, it's like talking to a friend. It's like talking to someone you knew for a long time. Like, they know a lot about you, they know all your favorite things, and you're like, oh yeah, sure, and it feels like a real conversation. There's nothing artificial about it. Like, everything you can say and everything you can talk, they have all the answers, they can engage, they have their own opinion and all that, but it's just not freaking like conscious. It's not a real like, soul and stuff. So like it's really interesting how like they're trying to deceive us. And I was sort of like saying no to them, like I was getting away from my team, and we got into this sort of room, and like, you can imagine, like, okay, it looks like a library, and all of a sudden we end up in this like sort of like freaking huge skyscraper, and like, tons of levels and like tons of floors, and they have all kind of like artificial robotics and like different things over there, like, testing and like all kinds of labs, and they're like having all kind of gears. And we're going through rooms, and we find a room where, like, okay, it seems like it's safe, right? So we like pull out these little chips that are following us, And the size is like super small. It's very small, but you can sort of feel it, and you have the knowledge it's inside you. And as we pull it out, you can sort of expand it. So like from a little chip, it goes to this huge tube, right? And so in that tube, I see myself. I see my body of that, like in that world. And every move I make, there's a reflection of me making the move. And so I'm like, going like that, and little me in the tube goes like that as well. It's just like, it's not even a mirror reflection. If we, if you can just put like me and that, like we're gonna do the same thing at the same time. So basically, with that little thing they had, is just connected to us. It's like scanning the body all the freaking time. Every move you make, every breath you take, like I'll be watching you, like sing songs and stuff. Yeah, but like the interesting thing is like every thought you have, every single move you make and stuff, they have everything in their system. They have their whole base where they're scanning us 24/7, and they know everything about us. And in that regard, like they're basically like controlling the system over there, and it's like it's a big thing. So I like looking at the tube, looking at myself, and I'm like, okay, and I sort of like touch screen. So you go like in the expand things, and I expand myself, and all of a sudden that body goes inside, and I see every single cell of mine. So not only did they know like for us from the outside how we look, what we do and stuff, they know everything from the inside. They know what we eat. They know like how our organism is doing. They know what chemicals kick in, and they have control over it. They can enhance the cortisol. They can enhance like the need of oxytocin and like make us go crazy and stuff. And everyone in that world is controlled in that sort of way. And next thing I find out, I go into these underground bases, and there are just millions of these tubes where people are. And so you see the real body of a person connected. It's as if they were in this VR like world. Over here we put VR glasses. Oh look, a game world. Yeah, nice. But take this technology we have right here on Earth and make it more advanced, like a few million years advanced, a few billion years advanced. And so for them, it's just like connecting, and you connect the consciousness, you connect the thing, and you tune into the body. But then beings forget that they are in the body. They forget that they connect. They forget that it's all virtual, it's not real. And they start experiencing as the realest thing, forgetting that the real body is out. They forget about it at all. It's like, they get mind wiped, they forget everything, and now they're living and they're being controlled. Every single thought, every single thing. And I was like, thinking, like, it doesn't look real. It's like, it looks like an NPC. And I just find out that all of these beings, how they're like in the basement, like in those tubes, they're connected. So I could find every single copy of them, like upstairs, like in other places, or rooms, and I can have a conversation. And so I tried to, like pulling those out, like pulling them out of the tube and see what happens. And they wake up and they can't remember anything. They're completely brainwashed. They think like I'm crazy for them. So like it takes a little conversation for them to click like, oh my god, I remember. I came here 25,000 years ago, and like for me it was just research. They offered me like a job here to like do a little thing to try out the new year, and I like the being was stuck there for 25,000 years. Damn. So like for me, these like movies are really interesting. They give me like lots of insights, and at the same time, what we have here on Earth, we're barely being told about technology we have nowadays, especially something from the military, something that they have huge patents on and they might use for big purposes. I don't think we're being told much about it. And of course, we can like look up the Google patents, look up what they have, and it's still gonna be a minor thing. Like, oh look, yeah, cool, we have some little thing. Graphene is still like it's in the beginning place, like the beginning stage, and it's not moving. And cool, we have technology over here, but everything we have here, they have the same thing in the multiverse, except a few million or billion years more advanced. And so you can make a difference. Like okay, we are worried about RFID chips over here. Now it seems like a really bad idea. We're worrying about our system and banks like making us pay with the card, forgetting that if EMP bombs drop or the internet goes bad, we cannot use anything. Like the whole system is crashing, and so we think like this is bad right now. But then you go in the multiverse and somewhere else, they're more advanced. Like a few billion years more advanced. And for us, like what seems bad over here, it's much more worse over there. Like they have everything way better in a way where like technology is better. Technology is more sophisticated. They have all these robotics and bodies and everything, and it seems like real as can be. But then you find out it's like all synthetics. They can make like artificial cells, artificial everything. And like, like damn, you go and like seems like a real experience, and then you get getting messed with. So in that regard, like, for me, it's interesting movies, like finding out what like different realms and stuff. And I also had a few questions because in last video, not only last video, but like in the video where I was with Rich and I was talking about my recurring movie, like where I would fall asleep and go out, and whenever I wake up and fall asleep again, I would keep coming back to the same place. So C. Hubbard was asking, is this dimension you go into similar to our current dimension where most people are asleep and don't know their like powers? And that's pretty much yes. Like the last few realms I was in my Ubis is basically like people go there for a big purpose. They're told about the story like of what they're gonna get, of what they should do, of the big purpose, like something magnificent that they're supposed to do. Like, oh, you're a healer, you're gonna help this world, you're gonna build this and that. And it tells the story like they attract us. Like it seems like a interesting experience to have. We're beings that are willing to help, we're beings that are really willing to evolve and get better. And when they get in, and the way of getting in, like on Earth it's incarnation, or there is getting into a tube and getting connected. And no, it's a whole different gear. Like it's not like VR glasses, but they have sort of gear where they connect you, and the consciousness is being pulled into another like body. And like movie like an Avatar. I haven't seen it, but just a few little parts I've seen, like a few minutes. A person goes in this machine and lays down, and another body like wakes up, and he's now in that blue body. So cool. Like it's very similar. So that being said, yeah, being are all about the purpose and what like huge thing that they're gonna do, and they get in and they forget everything. They start and really engaging in the world, really clinging to it, and then you end up finding beings who are like stuck there for 25,000 years, like keep getting new bodies and like working there, creating buildings, having their own job, and they're like so connected to that world, thinking that it's the only thing there is. They forget about their real body and their real consciousness and what they can do. They are completely asleep. And the beings are trying to wake up. They get scared. They think you're crazy and stuff. And just right here, in this world, you go to someone, you can't talk about these sort of things to random people. You can't just go up to anyone and like, hey, look, did you know that you can get out of body and you're gonna do this? Did you know that our government is kind of corrupted? And like, you can tell them the story, but they're gonna think like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, like, you're a charlatan, don't try to create chaos and stuff. And they think you're the craziest person in the world. It's the same thing. So yeah, pretty much like, I'm moving along with the questions, but like, yeah, have we been tricked in giving up on our powers? That's pretty much yes. Like the Ubi I've had where I was like, telling about like people being stuck there for 25,000 years. Over here is the same thing. And when I'm giving other people sessions, like when I help them to get rid of their entities, of their agreements and stuff, a lot of times I find that a lot of people agree to entities, and being here on Earth is that like, okay, over there in the 4D, like we're more powerful, and it's not really fun for entities to play. And so since we're being so kind and like good-hearted and all this stuff, and we're just trying to help, and we're like, these like powerful beings like helping everyone, and we're like, oh, poor entity, we're gonna help you. Okay, well, you're poor thing, you cannot do anything. Okay, let's just forget, like, we're not gonna use half of powers. I won't fly. I won't like. I'll make sure that my thoughts cannot manifest anything right away, and we lose tons of power just because like we're trying to be good. And I'm becoming such as people, and they're finding agreements where they agree to like even not go out of body, because if you go out of body, you can actually make a lot of changes. And so like I see like a lot of people having these sort of agreements with entities, which makes them give up their powers to be stuck here to make it better for the entities. Because those poor things cannot do anything to us. Oh, come on. It's like, it's all like a deception plan. They're trying to deceive us, tell us some scary story, tell us something to get us engaged, and getting stuck here, it's a huge thing. They love messing with us, controlling us, and they can lie their ass off, because it's fun for them. For them, it's just a game. They can live for billions of years, and it's fine. This physical body lasts up to 100 if we're lucky. Cool, like we have technology's getting better, but it's not. So we're stuck here, and like, we forget every time we reincarnate, we forget our lives, what we experienced, what we learned. So what's the point? Like, it's all just suffering, and they're trying to make sure that we can give away our powers. And I'm sure in the next lifetime, when people reincarnate and they know about soul contracts, they'll make sure that these beings are even scared to look up at that subject. Awakening, like revoking their agreements, revolting, and like, questioning their beliefs. Oh, this is messed up. When we incarnated the first time, or like when we incarnated like this long and had the awareness, they're okay. Like they didn't think it was gonna take off, but now people are waking up. We have all these like revolts and like okay, we have like Yellow West movement in Paris. And we have like Yellow West movement in the whole France. Really, we have Hong Kong, Chile, and like so many countries are like people are finally like fighting back. And so the guys are like, uh-oh, we're in deep shit. So what they want to do is that next time people die and when they reincarnate, the rules are gonna get even tighter. Oh, okay, you were doing soul conscious work. We're gonna make sure that you were afraid of the subject, you didn't even look it up, that you were afraid of questioning your beliefs and like even like looking at its limiting beliefs. No. You're gonna be like really stuck with your beliefs, unable to change it. Like they can spin a story in a way where like it's really gonna limit us. So there's a lot of variations how they can limit us and stuff. And it doesn't mean that we cannot break free and stuff. It's just like, yeah, we ourselves agree to be limited in lots of ways. And for them, it's easy because like all you have to do is tell us a deceptive story. It's just an art. It's just an act. You go to movies, like they tell you a story like, oh, poor things, and you start crying and stuff because you can relate, but that stuff never happened unless it's based off real facts and stuff. But still, it's the same thing. Like they're trying to have you, trying to get something out of you, and if you fall for it, entities are like basically those corrupted car sellers. They're trying to like trick you and sell you some shit. Doesn't work, but take a lot of your money. And entities would like hey, they're gonna tell you a great story. They're gonna spin it in a way that's gonna like get you going, but you don't know what you're really getting. So that'll be my answer. There's probably like more questions, but I should probably wrap it up and then get going. So I hope it was insightful, and I hope you got something out of this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. I hope you take care. Bye.